Toyota are apparently finally deciding to get semi-serious about EVs in late 2022, after many years and many millions of dollars fighting against EVs and any action on climate change. Because of the disgusting way Toyota have behaved, and I believe will still behave, I will never buy another Toyota ever again. You may have heard recently that Toyota have suddenly scrambled to produce EVs, and so instead of trying their best to destroy and delay EV take-up and convince everyone that hydrogen cars are the best future, Toyota have done a complete 180 and stated they will be rebooting their EV strategy to get in on a booming market. They even halted 30 EV projects only announced last December in order to start work on either improving or replacing their current EV platform. Toyota started building their very first EV platform in 2018 for joint ICE and EV use, so not dedicated EV, there's a clue. And 4 years later, it produced the Bz4X, which was recalled soon after launch for the wheels possibly falling off, just a minor thing.
A great success!
It seems some in Toyota have actually woken up to the fact that there is no future in hybrid or hydrogen cars, and that they are so far behind on EVs and so far behind Tesla especially, it's not funny. But it is funny, and it's their own fault. With this new direction for Toyota, it could take 5 years to release a new model of EV for them. I used to have a lot of love and respect for Toyota, but due to their actions on opposing the environment and EVs, I'll never buy another Toyota again. One of my first cars was a Toyota Corolla.
The 1979 Toyota Corolla two-door sedan, the lowest priced Toyota.
You got a Toyota.
The Corolla is a combination of engineering, functional styling, and Toyota quality.
You got a Toyota.
My first step into the environmentally aware space was a 2007 Prius, which was the world's first mass-produced hybrid. It was years ahead of anyone else. Even Leonardo DiCaprio bought one. Since the Prius, they've rolled out hybrids pretty much everywhere. Prius C, Highlander, Lexus, Corolla, etc. By May 2012, Toyota had sold over 4 million Prii worldwide. By the way, hybrids have been found to be nowhere near as non-polluting as we thought. They are nearly as bad as vanilla ice. There's a link to a study in the info section below. I strongly recommend you have a look at it. In June 2012, Tesla introduced the Model S and overtook Toyota in green transportation. Tesla proved that long-range EVs were possible, practical, and desirable. Toyota had even invested in Tesla and owned 1.5%, which they sold completely in 2017. They'd invested in Tesla to get their help to produce the RAV4 EV.
By partnering with Tesla, my hope is that all Toyota employees will recall that venture business spirit and take on the challenge of the future.
Toyota's engineers concluded that Tesla's technology wasn't a threat, said there wasn't much to learn, and discontinued the electric RAV4 in 2014. And in May 2014, North America Toyota CEO Jim Lentz said it was time to either continue or stop. He also said his personal feeling was that I would rather invest my dollars in a fuel cell development than in another 2,500 EVs. I think you were wrong, Jim. It seems to me as if Toyota were only trying to get competitive information about Tesla and its products. Toyota didn't take EVs seriously, and even their own hybrids were just going to be around long enough while they were establishing their hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, such as the Mirai, released in 2014. So, Toyota banked on hydrogen and dismissed EVs. I can see hydrogen possibly being useful for large transport such as trucks, trains, planes and ships, and steel manufacturing, but not for cars. The infrastructure cost for a hydrogen fuel station is $2 million US, whereas it costs $50,000 US to install a fast EV charger. So EVs continue to improve, battery costs continued to come down, Consumers wanted them and governments legislated to ban fossil fuel vehicles. The hydrogen fuel cell car sales have been tepid, selling just over 11,000 of them since their introduction in 2014. They cost more to produce than an EV. There isn't much hydrogen fuel or hydrogen infrastructure available. Basically, it makes no sense to have a hydrogen car. Hydrogen is already at least 10 years behind battery EV technology. Toyota wants everyone to hold off on EVs until they are ready to mass produce hydrogen vehicles and have the infrastructure in place. But the climate cannot wait.
There is no planet blah, 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 blah.
In 2 days, a month's worth of rain has swept through this region.
They've not had enough rain here for 3 consecutive seasons. Water ponds have long dried up.
Well, the flooding has stretched all the way down into New South Wales. What are you seeing as you duck under power lines? That's how high the water is?
And the bleaching was significantly consistent with heat stress, marine experts say, is due to climate change.
More wildfires across the continent.
8 months ago, we left COP26 with 1.5 degrees on life support. Since then, its pulse has weakened further.
Businesses remain without power in Florida and the Carolinas as those states reel from the impact of Hurricane Ian.
While climate chaos gallops ahead, climate action has stalled. We are in a life or death struggle for our own safety today and our survival tomorrow. The world cannot wait.
In 2017, Toyota announced its plans out to 2050, which were to be dominated by hybrids. And in 2050, they still wanted to produce and sell you ICE with a little lithium-ion battery. What a joke. So, Toyota bet its future on hydrogen, and in an effort to protect itself, Toyota went full bore into lobbying against EVs and any reductions to ICE emissions. They were spending millions and millions, along with global oil interests, to destroy or at least delay EVs and keep on selling their polluting engines as long as possible, killing off EVs if possible, hoping to have hydrogen fuel cell vehicles take center stage. Here are some examples of their anti-climate efforts. Toyota were lobbying governments worldwide to have hybrids and hydrogen vehicles have a much bigger role. They were opposing stricter emission standards all around the world. They backed the Trump administration against the Californian Clean Air Act. They sued Mexico over their fuel efficiency rules. They've been arguing forever against carbon taxes in Japan. And in India, executives at Toyota's Indian subsidiary publicly criticized India's target for 100% electric vehicle sales by 2030, saying it was not practical and not the way forward. Apart from the millions and millions of dollars spent on political lobbying, Toyota have also spent millions on political donations. Toyota were by far the largest corporate donor in 2020 of Republicans in the US Congress. Yes, the same Republicans who still say that the election was stolen.
Toyotathon is on, and you know what that means. Toyota is funding the 147 Republicans who voted to overturn the election. Insurrectionists, you'll love our incredible savings on some of our most popular models, like our Reinstate Him RAV4, Seditious Sienna, and our sporty Camry. Right now during Toyotathon, get 0% APR for the next 48 months and a free membership to the NRA. This deal ends January 6th. Get yours before they're gone. Toyota, let's go places.
According to a New York Times analysis, at least 22 of those Republican lawmakers have also denied the scientific consensus on human-caused climate change. An old adage comes to mind: you lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. Also known as you can be judged by the company that you keep. At the Glasgow Climate Conference in November 2021, 6 major car makers, including General Motors, Ford, Volvo, and Daimler Mercedes-Benz, signed a declaration to phase out fossil fuel cars by 2040. Toyota and VW refused to sign. Toyota have also been trying to convince everyone that hybrids and hydrogen are much better than EVs by blatantly stretching the truth in ads.
Stand out from the background in the Toyota CHR self-charging hybrid. Leave ordinary behind.
Energy that drives you on. New Lexus UX self-charging hybrid.
Sponsoring the Tokyo Olympics and ferrying all the important people around in Mirais, and complaining loudly wherever they can about EVs not being the answer everyone else seems to think they are. Look, I understand to a certain extent why Toyota are and have been engaging in these tactics. They employ a massive amount of people producing ICE and hybrid vehicles, and they have a massive investment in ICE factories, which they can easily pivot to engines which run on hydrogen. It's all about the money and reputation. And to be fair, Toyota aren't alone. Stellantis and others, including VW, are fighting EVs wherever they can while managing their own slow transition. 95% of hydrogen production uses natural gas, so it's actually worse than oil from an emission standpoint. The hydrogen tank has to be twice as big as an ICE tank to get the same range. And because it's twice as big, it needs twice the room of your car. Check out the video about hydrogen combustion engines and hydrogen fuel cell cars by Engineering Explained, linked in the description below.
There was a time when hydrogen was presented as the future of fuel for our cars. These vehicles promised things like longer driving distances, faster refueling, and eco-friendly energy. George W. Bush, remember him, liked hydrogen fuel cells so much that he offered $1.3 billion in funding to get these cars on the road. This all sounds fantastic. So why aren't we all scooting around on our own hydrogen horseless carriages? The technology had plenty of pretty dope features that appealed to consumers, but nobody really seems to talk about these cars anymore. Why did the hydrogen vehicle lose its traction after all the hype that was surrounding it? Is it actually better for the environment than gasoline? And who, or what, killed the hydrogen car?
Toyota have gotten a D grade, the worst possible among automakers, from Influence Map, which is a London-based think tank that tracks corporate climate lobbying, because Toyota exerts massive amounts of policy influence to undermine public climate goals. I strongly recommend reading the report linked below from Influence Map. It shows just how schizophrenic Toyota seem to be, because they say they're supporting cutting greenhouse gas emissions on the one hand, but then they're opposing most things to actually cut greenhouse gas emissions on the other. They say they support the Paris Agreement, but have been desperately fighting against EVs. The Chinese government moved aggressively to force all automakers in China to produce EVs, which is the main reason Toyota had to create a joint venture there to produce one. Maybe Toyota's anti-EV attitude has all been down to Akio Toyoda taking over in 2009. Just recently, on the 3rd of October 2022, Akio Toyoda reiterated that he does not believe all electric vehicles will be adopted as quickly as policy regulators and competitors think, due to a variety of reasons. He cited lack of infrastructure, pricing, and how customers' choices vary region to region as examples of possible roadblocks. What does he mean, lack of infrastructure? There aren't enough EV fast chargers, absolutely, but there are many thousands more of them than any hydrogen stations, and you'll never be able to have your own little hydrogen station at home. Pricing? Hydrogen costs more to produce and sell and wastes a ton of space in the car. Customers' choices varying from region to region? Is the guy on drugs? Has he seen the uptake in EVs while ICE sales plummet? I bet he has, and that's why this sudden massive EV reboot, apparently. Yes, I know Toyota are the biggest automaker in the world currently and generally produce reliable, if pretty boring looking vehicles, but they have set back emission standards and zero emission vehicles by years with all of their anti-climate antics, just so they could protect their current cash cow and their business model by producing hydrogen burning engines instead of fossil fuel burning engines. Even if Toyota brought out an amazing EV at half the cost of everyone else's, I would never buy it. In my opinion, Toyota need to go bankrupt and disappear for their disgusting actions against our climate and our world.